They're at Oceanside High, but already their minds are thinking ahead to the fall and winter, when they will lead the Pirates' varsity football and basketball teams for the second straight year. Junior invites Niu to join him for an early morning workout later in the week. When the running back point guard arrives 2 days later at 5 o'clock, Junior is waiting for him. They stretch briefly, then begin running. And running. And running. Niu thinks he is prepared, but he isn't. His first workout with Junior turns out to be his last. After that, Niu said of that 1986 morning, every time the bus would come and I'd see him over there, I made it a point to walk in the opposite direction. Bug would be out there like clockwork. He was one of the hardest working people I've ever known. Junior lived in a 3-bedroom bungalow where he and 3 brothers slept in a converted 1-car garage that served as his gym as well as his bedroom. On most mornings, he'd rise before the sun crept over the coast and exercise until his body was drenched in sweat and his muscles twitched from fatigue. He'd do push-ups and sit-ups on the cement floor, pull-ups on a tree branch in the backyard. He used the neighborhood streets as his personal track. While running one afternoon, he passed the home of a cousin who was seated on the front porch. 15 minutes later, he passed the house again, moving in the opposite direction. The cousin didn't think much of it. Junior was always running. But when the youngster passed the home a third time, the cousin shook his head and laughed. "Man, that kid's crazy," he said to a friend. "But he's going to go somewhere." The words were prescient. Nearly a decade later, Bug's journey took him to the Super Bowl, where he played on the grandest stage in professional sports. A decade after that, it took him to the White House, where President George W. Bush honored him as a Volunteer of the Year for his work with at-risk kids in San Diego County. And in 2015, it took him to Canton, Ohio, where he became the first player of Polynesian descent to be inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But to fully appreciate just how far he traveled, literally and figuratively, you must understand where his journey began. Oceanside is the 3rd largest city in San Diego County. Yet it often is overshadowed by smaller coastal municipalities to the south, like Carlsbad, Encinitas, La Jolla, and Coronado. Those communities are held up as symbols of affluence and privilege when people talk about the beauty of the region. Oceanside is known as the gritty military town on the southern border of Camp Pendleton, the 125,000-acre Marine Corps training facility that's the largest on the West Coast. It's the dirt-covered stone that has yet to be buffed and polished into a priceless gem. 3.5 miles of coastline that's as unpretentious as it is gorgeous. The Seaus did not live close enough to the water to taste the salt in the air. They lived inland, where gangs and drugs and small overcrowded bungalows were prevalent. Community members referred to it as East Side. While it could be intimidating to outsiders, many locals found comfort there because it was what they knew. Some 1,400 people of Samoan descent resided in the area in 2000, making it one of the largest concentrations of Polynesians in the United States, according to that year's census. Tiaina Seau and his wife Luisa grew up on American Samoa. Luisa in Pago Pago, Tiaina in the much smaller village of Nuuli. But they didn't meet until both were in Hawaii, where Luisa was attending school and Tiaina was searching for work. They fell in love, married, and started a family. But thoughts of settling there dissipated quickly after son David was born with a hole in his lung. The parents were told that David could receive specialized medical care in San Diego, where Tiaina had a sister, so the family packed its belongings and relocated.